2 games in, what have you learned about your team through your first 2 games?
Well, we've done a good job establishing our presence in the paint, scoring the ball well around the basket. We'd love to get some more opportunities there. And ball movement is key for us. Ball movement, when we have good ball movement, or we're getting drives and kicks, or post touches and kicks, we've been highly successful. When our ball movement gets stunted, it's when it's caused us issues, and we've played one-on-one and just haven't found good solutions offensively. Defensively, we're still finding our way. We got to minimize our mistakes because for some reason the last 2 teams have made us pay incredibly for any bad choice that we've made defensively. I swear they haven't missed, neither team, in certain junctions of the game. So we have to be able to minimize our mistakes. Our ball pressure has been sound. We're starting to have better communication, play to our principles a little bit better defensively. I thought we played a much better defensive game in Princeton. We didn't close it out well enough down the stretch. I thought we kind of started to backtrack a little bit once they started scoring and they applied pressure and the offense didn't click for us. We lost our way a little bit. And in those times, that's where we got to get tougher. We got to be even more focused, have more pride defensively, and we will. I think overall, I think we've taken some steps in the right direction to start, heading towards victories instead of losses.
You mentioned the offensive, you mentioned the tempo and mentioned everything there. Do you think it's also just in regards to the ball sticking because of guys injured, guys figuring out roles? Do you think there's just still a lot to figure out and that's what it is? What would you attribute it to?
Partly, it's year one for a group, that no matter if we have some returning guys, you have such a mix of guys that have not played together. So the chemistry isn't quite there at all times, right? The level of trust isn't quite there all the time. And it will be. It's growing. And I think it's a work in progress, something that you have to continue to build on, right? Our objective is not to be the same team that we were to start the season. Day by day, game by game, we just got to keep improving, right? And we have to have a winner's mentality in doing so. So we got to continue to be unselfish, continue to share the ball, and we have to fight like hell on the defense end.
How exactly, if you will, is this what you expected? Is this what you expected? Wins or losses aside, just the way you're playing together.
I think this is an understanding. I think this is where we were, right? Could those 2 games resulted in wins? Possibly, right? Both of them. We had chances at the end of the game, but I've always noticed a resilience and a toughness with my squad that I thought showed up in both games. I thought it showed up in both games. So I have that understanding. I think it's working out the attack of the game. How can we consistently play well for 40 minutes? I think we do it well in spurts, right? But to beat the teams we played, Lipscomb was a 20-win team, Princeton 25-plus games last year. To beat those type of quality teams, it's a 40-minute effort. I thought for about 33 minutes we were really good in that Princeton game. But once again, it's 40, and all it took for them was 7 minutes to really seize control of that game. And credit to them. Credit to them for doing it.
I know, Jay Sean came in with huge offensive potential, but did you expect him to kind of jump out as much as he has offensively?
Well, yes. It's a reason why we brought him in. He's been great for us so far, and I still think he's capable of more. He just continues to draw attention on whether it's his drives, whether it's his post-ups, and I think his assist numbers aren't the total, right? The average isn't quite. It doesn't emulate what he's done, right? How he's triggered our offense, how he's moved the ball, his hockey assists. He doesn't get credit for those things in the stat sheet, but those are the things that show up in the game. They show up in film, and equally, he's been a huge factor for us offensively. So I'm not surprised. I thought he could do that at Chicago State. Well, I've seen him do it. I was on the sideline and witnessed it. So, yeah, I truly believe in what he's been able to do so far, and I think he can be even better. And it's up to even us as coaches to figure out, okay, how can we put him in some different spots and take advantage of his skill set even more.
You have confidence and you have belief within that confidence. When the ball's not going in at a consistent rate, or if you're not getting consistent stops, how important is it that the guys just focus on next play, have that short term, instead of getting into a hole and overreacting out of it? And how have you found that?
Yeah, and I think this happens with teams across the nation, right? You know, it always feels good when you're scoring the basketball. When you're scoring the basketball, not only it feels good, but it also gives you a chance to set your defense, right? It's hard to score against a set defense. So, there's times where we have those struggles, but the growth in the team is in those moments. How connected do we get? How tough do we get? And that's from, a focus standpoint, emotionally and physically. Like, how tough do we get to stabilize? To stabilize, continue to get stops until our offense clicks. And that's always going to be a challenge. I think I haven't been a part of any teams where that hasn't been a challenge yet. So I think that's a consistent thing that shows up in teams. The teams that are better at it are, the ones that are winning.
Is the Kareem factor important to you still, to be a guy who has a voice, and do you welcome that as it was in the past?
Yeah, absolutely. I don't block my players from having a voice. I encourage it, and not just from him, right? He can't be the only one that has something to say. Even when we bring it in after practice, it's one thing to have my opinion, right? And because I'm always fact-based, right? Everything I say is the truth and the fact, apparently, I guess. But it's good to have the players speak. Hey, what were your thoughts on practice? What did you see? How did you feel? And they have to have that accountability and responsibility, because at some point, when the ball's in the air, they're on the floor, they're on the court together, and they have to find a way, right? I'm there to help them and guide them, but in between a lot of plays, it's the players on the court that are figuring it out and trying to find a way. So it takes more communication from them than you probably think, right? And Kareem's done a magnificent job since day one, since his freshman year, and he continues to do so. But it's important that we encourage the whole group to take accountability.
Starting the season with 2 losses, obviously, adjustments are needed, but there's also a lot of good things to take away from this team. What's your message to fans who might feel a little deflated after the start of the season?
Well, if I haven't blinked and our team hasn't blinked or wavered, don't feel deflated. Understand that with all teams, it's a building process, and we just have to continue pushing the momentum forward. Outcomes, they determine a lot of things, right? They determine your mood, wins or losses, but within those wins or losses, we got to make sure that we're playing quality basketball, that we're continuing to trend toward good offense, getting good shots, getting stops on defense, because you can win a game bad, right? Now, at the end, it feels good to put that W in the win column, but you always got to continue to keep learning, so and keep building. So the message to the fans is, listen, we're on track. we are trending in the right way as far as our growth, and if we stay consistent and we keep playing good basketball, it'll result in wins. So just stay with us, be patient.
Lots of games left.
Between 3 a.m. when you guys got in on Saturday to now, how do you feel this is a better or a more prepared team than what it was Friday
You were
night?
tracking this, man?
I got some intel.
3 a.m. That's bad intel. I wish I'd have got home at 3 a.m.
Regardless, how do you feel that you're a better unit now than you were Friday night, or at least more prepared?
Because you got to go back and learn, right? So, like I said, wins or losses, you have to continue to be consistent in the hard work, the approach that you take, right? We can win that game and think we're the best thing since sliced bread, right? And possibly start taking plays off. Or win or loss, we dive into the film, we figure out a way to continue to get better, and that's what we've done. So, like I said, we can't let the outcomes determine our consistent behaviors, how hard we're going to work, what we're trying to accomplish. We can't let those things. We can't stray away just because we won, and we can't be discouraged just because we lost. We got to maintain and we got to keep growing. So immediately, it's you approach your team after the game, you say what you need to say, and you dive into the film. You get back on the court, and you try to incorporate the things you learn and continue to get better.